Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome officially to our weekly markets outlook class, where we try to spot, more or less identify trade opportunities for the week. Okay, so beginning, we're going to look at we're going to start up looking at the fundamental outlook in terms of what to expect, right? In terms of what to expect and how what potential setups we could look to trade for the week. Now, remember on Tuesdays and Wednesdays by 11 a.m. as well, we'll have our cutting edge class where we'll really dive into all these instruments individually and try and break down the trade idea. But we'll see what we can, a couple of them that we can spot for today and what we can expect. Now, looking at this Sleeping Monday, there's not much, just a medium impact news from the pound from the UK. It's a House member speaking, so I don't expect so much actually to happen here. It has already passed. It already happened, so that one is quite quiet. But on Tuesday, would have quite a significant news from the Aussie, also a significant update from the UK, and as well the FOMC update from Billiard. So in terms of now, these three updates, they don't have actual value, like actual forecast and previous. It's just the speech. It will be perceived on how the market, how traders and investors perceived whether they sound hawkish or bullish, and what they can read, what meaning they can read into into their speech and how they sound as to future economic outlook for those individual pairs. Now, from Wednesdays, we'll now have, so this CPI report from the pound is also going to be quite critical. It is expected to come out at 9.3% from a previous 9.1%. So if it comes out at 9.3%, then, well, good and fine. If it comes out worse than 9.3%, that's going to be bad for the pound. If it comes out better, then expect some bullishness in the pound itself. And then but some of the other key ones to pay attention to is so on Thursday, there's that. So on Thursday, we have the manufacturing refinancing. So Euro is struggling. We'll see how this two comes out. Basically, this one, we'll see how that one comes out. And then on Friday, we have the German sale. So not so much activity in terms of high impact news. There's activity, but not in terms of high impact, previous forecasted type of news. But remember, the reason we pay attention to this is not to try and trade the news, except if you trade the news, I'm sure you have your style of doing that, but is to understand, those period of volatility in the markets to see how we can either stay away from it or try and manage our positions or try and take advantage of it. So pay attention to those, and you would be looking through them as we go forward in our classes over the week, right? So let's jump straight into some instruments that we would want to consider for the week. And as usual, we're going to start up looking at the DXY. Right, so the DXY is the dollar index. It measures the strength of the greenback against the major pairs. And like we've been discussing for a while, for a long time, we have been, our stance has been very clear. The dollar has been bullish and is most likely going to continue to remain bullish. So far, it's just been doing pullbacks, continue. So the best way to kind of approach this is to don't try, and even if you enter into a short-term sell on the dollar pairs, you want to protect your profits early, because predominantly the market is bullish. You could see it with the way the DXY has been aggressively going up. And if you go into other dollar pairs like euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar CAD, you see that the dollar has been resultantly getting stronger and stronger. Now for the week, we could expect, so for this week, we could see the dollar actually weaken a little bit in its bid of trying to balance out, right? So the dollar, we could see it drop a little bit. Maybe we drop down, and then we get, just as you can see, it pushes up, it drops, it continues, it drops, it continues, it drops, and now up. So maybe we drop and then continue. So predominantly in this type of market, you want to basically be looking for bullish opportunities, obviously. However, this move here might result in some good counter trend trade remember what I talk about when I speak of counter trend trading. You want to, partial out early. You want to manage your risk, and you want to ensure that you don't leave yourself so exposed. So basically, the dollar is strong as it has been for the past couple of months, and is most likely going to keep remaining strong, but we could see some weakness this week. Now, how does that play out into instruments that we might look to trade? So let's start off by looking at the euro dollar. So the euro dollar, you would know that I am bearish on this one. As far as this market continues to stay the way it is, and you could see clearly that the market is maintaining a bearish stance. You could see from all the way from actually much higher highs. Price has actually been making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. It's clearly been bearish. And so this type of market, you don't want to, even if you get into a bullish position, know that that's temporary. That's why you have me highlight this area here and this area here. The reason is because, well, if the dollar manages to find its way up to this point, or this point, I expect we would see this continued sellout. Now, however, from where it currently is to those points is actually quite some distance. Therefore, we might actually be looking for a counter trend trade to try and take this up to this area. So that's basically my idea on this one. And so let's zoom in a little bit. So let's drop down to the 4-hour chart here. So we drop down to the 4-hour chart here, and so I actually am on a trade on this one, small trade, like I mentioned. Once I'm trading against the trend, I tend to keep my my risk very small. I am in on a trade here, and I'll probably look to get involved in this one. So now here's the thing. Here's what stands out for me right now. Now remember, on the higher time frame structure, we know we are in a bearish market. On the 4-hour chart, you could still see that we are we're in a bearish market from this high here down to this low. So if I would just highlight that, from this high up here down to this low, the market has been bearish. And by that, I mean delivering lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high. So it's just been making lower lows, lower highs. And that is, a good sign of a strong bearish move. Now, however, what you notice is here we made a lower low here, but this was the previous high, and we so far had made a new high. Now, basically, it means what I'm looking at is there's a good possibility the market might find its way up here, because that's where I'm looking to sell from, right? So I'm looking for opportunities to actually start getting involved in this trade. And then if we find confirmation here, or maybe here, we'll look to sell it back down. Our target will still be all these lows down here, okay? So that said, what could you possibly look to do with this? Let's even zoom in a little bit and drop down to the 1-hour chart, 60-minute, and you'll see what I was potentially looking out for here. Now, on this, as a matter of fact, at the time of early this morning, I was looking at this, looking for this to drop down here to look for the continuation. It didn't drop down, but so far, you could see how we have broken higher. So broken inside structure, we've also broken this outer structure here. And I would expect, now there's no guarantee, it could just keep going up and up and up, in which case it's fine. I wouldn't try to force the trade. But if the market comes back down, I will be looking for opportunities to buy from here and take out new highs. Because that is an area I quite like for a potential buying opportunity. So keep that in mind. If you drop down to the 30-minute chart here, so you can visualize that even more. Now, so keep this area in mind. If the market drops down toward this area, potentially look for a buy around this area to try and take this up. Now, remember, so for example, the buys or whatever trade you get involved here must be with confirmation. That means if price gets into this area, you want to confirm with maybe counter trend line break, price action setup, or some Wyckoff accumulation, on the smaller time frame. Your risk should be just below that area. And while your primary targets would be, just that high, wherever the high is, just the high that is created, our overall targets will be based on this higher time frame structure, which is all the way up here. So don't worry, for you guys on the group, we'll discuss this one tomorrow and subsequently, and if trade setup comes out, I'll send it out across as well. So that is euro dollar outlook. Another pair I wanted to consider, just talk about briefly, is euro. They call it euro. Sorry, Aussie dollar. Okay. This AUDUSD. So the Aussie dollar is one where, okay, so let's go back a bit. You'd see the same type of outlook on this. We are bearish. We've been bearish for a while. We've broken structure within bigger structure and within bigger time frames. And as far as I'm concerned, the best opportunity to look for in this one is to keep looking for selling opportunity. And so if we drop down to the 4-hour chart, you'd see more or less what I'm looking at here. So we have approached an area I'm interested in. So right now for me, it's about looking for confirmations to try and sell this thing, because I'm interested in selling this, but I want to see price start delivering itself lower. Now, what you can do is you could just, you could simply have a trend line, watch the trend line, don't like that trend line. You could have this and watch for a break of the trend line, and that could serve as confirmation. You could also, let's say, if we get some sort of candlestick rejection from within this area, so if we have something like a bearish engulfing or a bearish pin bar, that could serve as a catalyst to then look to trade the retracement and sell this down. Otherwise, if the market just fizzles its way out, where the market just fizzles its way out and breaks this trend line, that could also serve as confirmation. Look for a retest and try and take this down. So basically on this one, I am looking for shorts around where we currently are now. So I'm looking for selling opportunity on this one. I quite like the look of it. And so if we get confirmation, I will be looking to get involved selling from just within where we are now. But I want to get confirmation because there's really, the markets could just decide to blow past, right? If you're aggressive and you don't, you can decide to get involved selling aggressively, put your stop loss up all the way up here. Or you could just put your stop loss all the way up here. But personally, I would want to see more confirmation before actually looking to go short. But I like this one, and I'm looking for reasons to sell this once I find confirmation that I like. Okay, so another instrument to talk about is pound dollar. Okay, so pound dollar, let's go up daily charts. Okay, so on this one, there are a couple of things I'm looking to do here. I'm actually looking to, over long term, I'm looking to sell this, but short term, I'm open to looking for buying opportunity on this one. So notice how we have been going, clearly just like euro dollar, dollar has been very strong for months, and you can see it here. It's been breaking lower and lower and lower. It has been taking out lows for the past couple of months, since all the way up on this area here. It has just been taking out lows. Oh, my line is not straight, but it's just been taking out lows after low after low. So it's just been taking out lows, and the market is clearly bearish. And in doing so, notice also that it's also been putting in new, it's never put in a what do you call it, a higher high. It's just been making also lower lows, lower lows, lower lows in the same vein. It's just been making lower lows all through, and this most recent low, which is broken here, probably expects markets to also make a new low and then continue its way down. Now, until the market decides it wants to start picking out high, we have no business forcing long-term buys. So any buys we look to get involved here are just simply short-term positions, and we'll look to manage ourselves or manage our positions quickly. So, but on this, I like something that I'm spotting on the smaller time frame. So notice this high here. So notice this high here, which we have broken here, right? So notice how we've broken that high. What I like about that is, you know, since coming down to this area, notice how price has started shifting on this smaller time frame, nonetheless, but shifting bullish. We actually came down here, cleared this liquidity with this big spike. We accumulated a little bit, and then price started rallying up. So what we could be looking for, what I am looking for right now, is for a reason to buy this. My targets would be, you know, slightly high. I don't need this one. My targets would be actually slightly higher areas, but I don't want to buy here. Remember, this is a counter trend move. We're looking to we're trading against the actual predominant trend. Now, if you take your fib and you just go from low to high here, you know, the 38.2, the 61.8, and the 78.6. Basically, if that's the simple way I just want to go about it. But there are areas I'd like to look for buying opportunity from. So I'd like to look for areas or reasons to go long from these areas, but I want to see confirmation. So right now, what it means is, let's say between today and, you know, the week, let's say within the week, we see pound dollar drop into something like this, I will be looking for confirmation to buy. If I don't find the confirmation and it drops even further, I would look for confirmation to buy here. And if I find that, I'll get involved. So whichever area I get involved, whether in, you know, buy 0.1 or buy 0.2, or even somewhere down here, buy 0.3, my overall targets would still be, you know, my primary targets would be the highs, wherever the high is created, target the highs. And the focal point would be trying to see if we can get involved on this to try and take it all the way up here. So this is how we look to capture those moves. Notice, so if you're a type of trend line type trader, notice what's also going on here. Notice how the market has also broken out of this area, right? So it's broken out of this trend line, made a new high. Now this is a smaller time frame nonetheless. So within the smaller time frame, we can look for buys to potentially go up to a bigger time frame potential area to look for sales. So that's the way we're looking to play this. Now, this is a whole lot of room to run, right? It's, you know, lots of room to run. The market is not just going to run in a straight line. As the market is playing and delivering to us, I will be calling it out to you guys on the Telegram channel. I'll do my best to call it out to you guys. Hopefully, I'm in good condition this week, and I'll send out the if we have a favorable setup or a favorable potential areas for entry. Once we start approaching those areas, I'll send it out to you guys normally too, and then you can look to participate, you know, yourself. So that's the approach. That's the approach I'll be looking to take on this one for the week. I'm looking for opportunities to take advantage of the long term, the short term buys. Now, CAD JPY is the next one that we'll discuss. So CAD JPY, so let's go up to the daily chart again. So basically, in this one, it's kind of you know, what would I say? It's also a type of counter trend trade, like where, yeah, the overall trend is predominantly bullish. We have inside structural shift to the bearish side on the lower time frame, but the overall time frame is still bullish. Now, I understand that you know, there are two things I'm looking for. There are two approaches, there are two concepts here. The part of this resistance is for price to take out highs, because that's what it has been doing for a long time. Like price has just been taking out highs, forming new highs, taking them out, forming new highs, taking them out. And the most recent high is this one up here, as you can see, this high up here, which is yet to be taken out, and which is why, you know, there's a bigger chance we take out this liquidity before dropping down and then going up again. So two things, two basic approach I'm looking to do here. So if we drop down to the what I call it 4-hour chart here, you see that, yeah, even this big spike is still doesn't really change the structure even on the 4-hour chart. And since then, we've been making, you know, more or less ranging, but also making new highs, right? So my thought process is that we're going to take out this high. That's what I'm thinking. Now, there's also the so if you drop down a little bit, right? There's also the what I see, the idea here that price, have taken out inside structure, and we might just come up here to take it out, to come down a little bit before going up. So I'm watching for two things here, right? So the main idea for me is to actually look for buys, right? However, I'm also open to the possibility of catching a short term, really, what I say, short scalp on this one to sell, right? So this red area I highlighted here, I'll be open to looking for sell opportunity. But whatever trade I get here, one thing would be, it will be low risk. That means, let's say I was risking 1% of my account per trade, I'll probably risk 0.25 for this particular one. Why? Because I feel the predominant direction in the market is bullish. Also, if the market start moving my way, I would partial out early and go to break even quick once the structure shifts, so that in case the market wants to continue the actual direction, I don't get caught on the wrong side. However, I will be doing that for the sole purpose of getting into a sell to then get into a buy. So yeah, even though it seems like we're pulling back down, I'm not interested. I don't want to jump in. I'd like to see price get up into this area here, and then if we see a setup that I like, I'll be open to actually looking for sales. So notice this. So if we get up into this area here, I will possibly look for sales to then take this lower. So if we come up back and we get confirmation, maybe we even have a trend line break or something on the smaller time frame, I could look for reasons to sell. I'll be targeting this lows, this lows, right? So basically this low. And if I were to come back all the way down here, I will actually start looking for buys to take it up. Okay, so that's the way I'll be looking to play this. And I think those are the three. I think there are three setups I like. I would be talking about with you guys here today. I hope the points are clear. I'm sure some of you have questions. If you want me to look at any particular instruments, so I'll take maybe one or two. Just type in the instruments on the chat, and I'll look at it. So quickly, while we're here, let's even take a quick look at BTCUSD. I think it's on the move. Let's see. Okay, so BTCUSD again is at that trend line. So I talked about this one a while, where you could see how this trend line has been serving as resistance since, from all the way back up at these highs. Not highs per se, but when it's from 48K, 50K-ish. Notice how this area has been serving as resistance, again, resistance. So this level has actually kept price lower, has kept it at bay. And so right now we have price also currently at that. Now, one of two things could happen. We could either break above, and then buyers could now start to gain strength, or we could simply we could also quite easily reject it. So imagine this candle here. At one point, looked like a very big bullish candle. Eventually turns to be a bearish engulfing / pin bar, whatever. And then we also had a bullish candle into this area, followed by a big bearish candle that then caused price to drop. Again, price had a bullish candle into this area, and then price dropped. So a clear break of this trend line would be what buyers should be looking for. So if we clearly break out and continue to make highs, then we could start to see some headway on this one. Else, if we fail to break out, just expect another drop in this thing, or maybe we drop down lower here and then try again. And if we fail, we drop down further. So this Bitcoin is at a critical level as to where it moves next, at least in my opinion. Okay. Remember, this is not financial advice. You want to do your own research and make sure that you take trades based on what you are comfortable with. Okay. So that's the much I will take. I'll be looking at. If anybody has questions or want me to look at any particular instrument, just simply type in the chat feature, and we will take the next few minutes to consider that together. I hope you enjoyed the class, by the way. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, please make sure to leave a like, comments if possible, and subscribe definitely to the channel. But why, for those of you who are here live, if you have any instruments you want me to look at, please type your message in the chat and we would see what we do about that. Okay. Okay. So hands are raised. Madam Oluremi, go first.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to just say, by the time we take a look at BTC, maybe as a standard, we look at gold and WTI just for completeness. But definitely the USD pairs you checked are great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. And Nasha FX. No problem pronouncing the name right.
Nasta FX.
Okay, Nasta.
That one is on volatility. Do you do that?
I can't hear you. I'm struggling to hear you.
Volatility 75. That's an index.
Volatility 75. Do I trade that? I don't even know what the chart of that looks like. So let's see. Is it here? This volatility index.
Yes.
Well, I don't trade the VIX, so I don't trade volatility index, but let's look at it. I don't think it's this what you're talking about. If it's volatility, is this the instrument you're talking about? This thing doesn't even, it looks very, very erratic. I don't know if this is what you're talking about. Anyway,
it looks like that, but can I?
Okay, so for gold, remember when we did talk about this one, and where we had this, and I made mention that well, my anticipation is price actually wants to come down here, this low here. This is where I think price really wants to come to. And so even though people were getting involved trying to buy this, I said I'll only be probably looking for sales to sell this. And you see what happened, price just came. It did also form a pin bar. I'm sure a lot of people got involved, excitedly buying that this thing is going to now go up, only for price to drop, drop dead. So where do I stand for the week? Actually, I believe we could see a bit of rally in gold for the week. No guarantees anyway. We still have lots of pockets to the upside and room to go. But this is actually where I feel the real target actually is, this low down here. Now, remember, since the market is trending lower, you could see it lower lows, lower high. So maybe we make a new lower high before coming down to take it out, or at least testing it, grabbing the liquidity, and then maybe changing direction. However, there's also the possibility that the market doesn't do that. And if it doesn't, it could just stall a little and then drop down. So be careful with this one if you're looking to trade gold. If anything, make sure your position size is small. Definitely don't take any trade without stop loss, anticipating that it would go up or go down. The part of this resistance is for it to go down, but there's also the potential it comes back up to fill up some of these price gaps that it has left here. So for the week, I'm actually anticipating we see this thing come up. And if we start coming up, I could start looking for sales to actually then take this thing down. Okay, so something like that, where the market would do some sort of range, deceive, as if it wants to go one side, deceive, as if it wants to go the other side, and actually goes where it really wants to go. You find that a lot, where the markets will see, for example, the markets came down, ranged, then pushed up. I'm sure a lot of people got excited about buying, and then it dropped. Again, the market came, ranged, and then dropped. So you find that happen quite a number of times. So, but for the week, I suspect we could see this thing go up, but I would be more interested in actually looking for sales around this area, as I would not try to want to force a sell here, right? But let's drop down a little bit into for charts. same type approach. I did get a very good trade on this one last week. It was a smaller time frame scalp on no. Actually, the market is still looking quite bearish. You know, notice this is high, this is low, or within this range, basically. So unless we take out this high, so here's the thing, here's the way I would approach it. If we come up and take out this high, then we're most likely going to find our way up a little bit. So if price comes and takes out this high, we could find our way up here before coming down. Otherwise, if price fails to take out that high, then just anticipate we continue to drop. Okay, so keep that one in mind, as that would be critical as to what happens next in gold. So remember, this is one volatile pair, and make sure that you find confirmation. If you don't trade because you feel, don't just see a big candle and start trading it. Yeah, it could hurt you. Okay, then what was the next one? I think it was, what was the next pair? I think it was Brent. Also similar thing here, long term looks bullish. Remember the global, you know, basically the global landscape. But forgetting about that, looking at the technicals, price has gone from, you can see this low down here, where the market failed to take out. You could see actually failed to take out that low, and that constitutes this range. So long term, that's the range we're looking at. Price has failed to take out this low. There's a good chance long term it tries to find its way back up here. But that's not, the buyers are not they're not in control yet, because look at the markets, it's still structured to the downside, making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? So unless we take out this high, unless we now take out this high, then we are really into bull territory. Doesn't mean you can't look for, you know, short-term smaller opportunity on a smaller time frame. But remember, also like gold, actually quite volatile, and to keep that one in mind. So let's look at the 1 hour charts, and let's see. You can see it's breaking up a little to the upside. So maybe we pull back down into maybe we pull back down into something like this, and you could look for a buy trade as so, where you try and go after that high if we drop down. Now, you could potentially allow yourself to potentially go after higher highs, but that would be your more or less first target. Your first target should be this high. So this is an if-else statement, right? So meaning if price drops down into here, you could look for confirmation to buy, and if you find it, you could buy it all the way up here. Now, if price gets here, you should take some partials and then allow some to run, because we could potentially just head higher. So that would be the way that would be a fair way to look to approach crude, Brent crude, or crude whatever, or US oil. That would be a good way to approach it, looking for bullishness to the upside. As long as we hold this low. So right now on the smaller time frame, on the lower time frame, which is the 1 hour here, we need to hold this low, right? Even basically you can even see this low, but we need to hold this low predominantly. If that low holds, then we most likely will come up and take out this high, and that would be a nice amount of profits to gather on this one. Okay, thank you very much. This would be all we take for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. Please remember, it will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. You could always go back, rewatch it if you want some sort of clarity, or you want to be able to run through the analysis again. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be having our weekly market outlook. I did post some trade signals, trade projections on the group, so you could check that out, watch them, and see if price gets into this area, look to take your trade. Remember, this is not financial advice. You want to ensure that you use proper risk management in your trade, because your money is your responsibility. So you want to ensure that you use proper risk management in your trade when trading, because the market in itself will do what it wants to do, We just want to be in the right side of it. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the class, and that will be where we call it a day. And I'll see you in the next class. So have a lovely trading week. Have a beautiful day, and be kind to others, and stay safe.